class to overhaul and look at it.
Well, you mentioned that class struggle, Warren, and I'm curious, you talk a lot about the wealthy's responsibility to pay more or pay their fair share. We all know Berkshire owns NetJets, and I'm curious about your reaction to the president's seeming willingness to make corporate jets a touchstone. Do you take that personally? Does that make any sense to you, given the potential revenue? Is that healthy for us?
Well, let me give you the facts on that, actually. I'm a good guy to talk to about that because I participate in corporate jets in a whole variety of ways. But let me tell you about my own situation. I have 1/8 of a plane, that's $100, that I use for personal use. That costs me a lot of money. It probably costs me over $1 million a year. I don't get a dime of deduction for that. There isn't one penny that comes off my tax return on that. It's for personal use. If you use it for personal use, you don't get depreciation. If I have a loss on the sale of that plane, I don't get to charge the loss on my tax return. That $1 million is $1 million after tax, every penny of it. Now, I also Berkshire Hathaway has 1/4 of a plane, which I use for business purposes. That plane, which is only used for business purposes, that plane does get depreciation. Now, it has to lay out the money to buy the plane to get the depreciation. And under the current law, because of this act that was passed last fall for all kinds of capital equipment, if you buy a new plane, you get 100% write-off the first year. It's not over 5 years. It's 100% the first year. But that was designed to induce capital investment throughout the economy.
Right.
Now, the third, and so that becomes a deductible business expense. The third case I have is I actually have bought 100 hours for my 3 children. They divided up 33 hours apiece. That cost me about $500,000 a year. I not only don't get a deduction for that, I pay a $240,000 gift tax to the government every year because I'm, in effect, giving these hours to my children. So the government is getting $240,000 extra beyond any income they get otherwise, simply because I buy that plane and let my children use it. And they would like to see that number go up.
So in other words, you don't agree with the decision to try and make corporate jets look like the bad guys in this whole situation?
Well, I don't understand the 5 years and 7 years referred to, because the truth is, a year ago, last October I think it was, that Congress passed a bill that said that for capital investment, it's true of our railroad plants, it's true of our generating plants and our utility operations, it's true of planes, it's true of everything. In the business world, there's 100% write-off in the first year.
That was part of the stimulus plan, wasn't it?
Pardon me?
That was part of the stimulus plan.
Yeah, it was a follow-on. Yeah, there was a first act right back in the stimulus plan. But that's the law now. We are going to spend at Berkshire $7 billion this year, practically all of the United States, on plant equipment, productive equipment. And we will get to write off 100%, a very high percentage of that. There's a few exemptions for things, but overwhelmingly. So I don't really see where a business aircraft is different than a business locomotive.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
Warren, so, it's 10 after right now. And,
sorry, Beck.
Go ahead.
I was just trying to. So, I'm trying to figure out. Then, Warren, what are you saying? That this is just political theater? That I mean, you're discounting it. You don't think it's a good thing to be bringing up to continually be throwing in Republicans' faces about the corporate jets? It's just political theater.
I think I know what you're trying to get me to say, Joe, but
well, you already said it.
I think well, you're trying to get me to repeat it. Then.
No, what?